What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Lowkey OJ, back with another video. So I thought I would come back to my roots, you know what I mean, and get back to the tips and tricks for my GM, because those were doing pretty good before I left. So to start off in 2K19, we're gonna start with what's the best value picks that you can trade for mid-year in order to get the first overall pick. If you're not with one of these teams, if you don't pick one of these teams and then decide to tank. So starting at number 5, we're gonna show you which pick. So if you just go over here and then you go to Trade Finder, we're gonna try and get the Clippers 2019 lottery pick. So the Clippers 2019 lottery pick is with Boston, the Boston Celtics, and since the Boston Celtics are a playoff team, and the Clippers are projected to be a playoff team, and their pick is lottery projected, it's only going to be 1.5 stars, so it won't be that hard to get. But there's a pretty good chance that they're not going to make the playoffs, especially in the West, and that will mean that the value of the pick won't be too hard to get. Like as you can see right now, I'm with the Suns, and they're just asking for, like, for example, Kelly Oubre and a second round pick, or Dragon Bender and a second round pick, you know, for Aaron Baines and a lottery pick. Of course, you can propose a trade, and you can, if you're good at it, you can literally just do like your 2023 pick, you know, and a second round pick, and you should be able to get this Clippers pick, which most likely will end up being in the lottery, which means next year you'll get it unprotected, and the Clippers won't have as good of a team, because the chances of them signing a marquee free agent isn't that great, and the squad that they have right now isn't gonna make the playoffs next year. So now we go down to number 4 on the list. We're gonna check out the Miami Heat. Now you may be wondering, like, in real life, the Miami Heat, sure, they're not good, but they're basically a playoff team, right? Like, they're a good team. They shouldn't even be a problem. But the weird thing about 2K is, like, you know, teams like in the East, like the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls, are actually pretty good. And when you have a team where your best player is Hassan Whiteside, and then Jason Richardson, Goran Dragic, who is injury prone, are your second and third best player, and Dwayne Wade, who's 36, is your 4th best player. And then your 5th best player is a center, which is a redundant position for Hassan Whiteside. The chances of their season not going well is, you know, it's a pretty good chance. So if you just try at the beginning of the season, before the value of the pick goes up, you try and get him, you can get pretty good value for him. As you can see over here, you know, even though I am the Suns, you know, they're asking for Jamal Crawford and a first round pick for next year. But really, you could really literally just do Jamal Crawford and like the 2023 pick, and you can get him. Or over here, D'Anthony Melton and the 20th pick, but it's top 3 protected. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to give up too much. Or just TJ Warren for almost a guaranteed lottery pick. Like, most of the time it would be a lottery pick. Technically, that is a lot to give up, but if you have this current draft set in with Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish, it's definitely worth it. You know what I mean? Okay. And then now we're just gonna go down to the 3rd team on the list, which will be the Hornets. Now the Hornets, they're kind of in the same situation as the Miami Heat, where they only have really one good player. But in this case, their one good player is Kemba Walker, who's an undersized point guard, and Jeremy Lamb, who's a good scorer, but that's about it. Michael Gilchrist is in the scorer. Tony Parker is pretty old. And in 2K, it's a hit and miss. Sometimes the Hornets will end up making the playoffs, but most of the time they'll be somewhere in the bottom 5. So really, this is one of the better value picks, but it's still a gamble. But for what it would take to get their lottery pick compared to what it's gonna cost you, it's not too bad. You know what I mean? Like for example, here you're trading Mikal Bridges, a young player, for Michael Gilchrist, who isn't that much older than him, and they're basically the same mold, except Mikal has a chance to be a better player if he grows into it. But that lottery pick can also be better, or TJ Warren and DeAnthony Melton, you know, for the pick. Or you could just trade picks. You could just trade one of your later picks and add 2 second rounders, and you could end up getting that pick. Really simple, you know. Over here, Rashad Holmes and Softwares. I wouldn't recommend you do that, of course, but for example, you could just take Rashad Holmes with his low salary right there, and add like the 2023 pick, and you should be able to get the Hornets pick, which has a pretty good chance of being a top 3 pick. So that's why I have him at number 3. Now, to go down to number 2, now this one is pretty much guaranteed to be a top 3 pick, and we're gonna go back to the Boston Celtics. So let's just get back to the Boston Celtics. Now the Boston Celtics, it's pretty easy to get picks off of them because they're a playoff team and they don't really have a need for the picks. And on top of that, they have some good lottery picks like the Grizzlies and the Kings. But in this case, we're gonna look at the Kings because of its high value. Now you can see over here, it's gonna cost you quite a bit. But if you do a little bit of maneuvering with your trades, if you guys want to see that, if you guys want to see how these trades you can maneuver, I'll probably do another video to go into depth on it. But I can show you how you can trade like just some players like Mikal Bridges and 2 second-round picks for Aaron Baines and a guaranteed top 3 pick is what you want to do. This is definitely what you want to do. This would be a perfect scenario. It's basically guaranteed because the Kings are going to be in the bottom 5, 100%, especially in 2K. That's why we have them at number 2. And the number 1 guys, these guys are almost always there because of Kristaps Porzingis, and that's the New York Knicks. So with the New York Knicks, Kristaps Porzingis almost always gets injured because he is highly injury prone, of course. And then when you look at the rest of the Knicks squad, once we get to them over here, if you look at the rest of the Knicks squads, other than Kristaps, you got Cantor, defensive liability, offensive beast, though. Same with Tim Hardaway, Moutier, Courtney Lee, Kevin Knox, and you know this team isn't going anywhere, and you know they're not going anywhere. But instead of them being a 3-star, which is what it's actually valued at, 2K's got them valued at like 2.5. So if you're able to, you know, see the value in that, and you know, do a little bit of magic, you should be able to, you know, like obviously you don't have to put in this much, but it's 2.5, but it's really a 3-star worth value pick. So if you do a little bit of moving around, like Rashad Holmes and your next year's pick, if you are a good manager, that's a pretty good trade-off for Noah Vonleh, which you could trade before the trade line for another pick, and you end up getting a higher draft pick if you're good at my gym. So yeah, that's the first video back. First video into these My GM tips and tricks, episode 1. If if you like the video, make sure to hit that like button. You know, if you have any questions, just ask them down in the comment section below. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.